Hey Playas, how you doing? Welcome back to another episode of Playas Guide. On today's episode of Playas Guide, I am going to be discussing the rarest, the most underrated, and some of the most valuable games on the original Xbox. So this list of original Xbox games is based on the North American library and does not include any special editions or collector's editions. These are all games that got regular releases for the Microsoft Xbox in North America. So to kick things off, the number one rarest game that you can get is Outrun 2006 Coast to Coast. So this is a really good racing game. So a lot of racing fans are after it. Now, in terms of rarity, it does find itself on this list at number one because it is sought after and has gone up a lot in value over the past few years. And this has really increased the rarity of the game because there aren't as many available to be purchased as there used to be. It's rather hard to come by this game. That's not to say you won't be able to come by it. This generation of games is a lot easier to find some of the rares for than past cartridge-based generations from the early 90s and 80s. Number two on the list is Teen Titans. So Teen Titans is a game that is fairly uncommon on the GameCube and on the PlayStation 2. But to get it for the Xbox, it was released later on. It had a later release date than the GameCube and the PS2. So people who are really interested in this game or wanted to play it probably didn't buy it on the Xbox. At the time, too, the GameCube and PS2 were newer consoles and had more modern games coming out. Well, the Xbox was on its way out and the 360 was on the way in. Now, the third game on this list, and some people may be surprised that it's not number one, and there's a reason for that, is Steel Battalion. This seems to be number one on a lot of YouTubers and other people's lists. The reason it's not number one on mine is because I think it's number one on a lot of lists because people who have it at number one are counting like the whole thing, the whole package. So this game came in a big crate with all these different parts that you would hook up to simulate yourself being in an actual mech suit. And what I see is a lot of people selling it. Yes, it is expensive, but I see a lot of people selling it because most people don't have the space for this in their game room. So if you're looking for the game alone, any day of the week, you will see more copies of this game on eBay than you will for a game like Outrun or Teen Titans, or even some of the other games on this list for that matter. But it is a rare game, and I do want to acknowledge that, so it does deserve to be in the top three. But from my personal experience, I see a copy or two at every convention or swap meet I go to, and someone's always trying to get rid of that box or full of all those different parts and accessories for the game. Futurama. Now this is a game that is also rare on the PS2, pretty much for the same reasons as it is on the Xbox. I talked about that in the PS2 collecting rarity guide. So if you want to watch that video, I'll put a link at the end of this one. You can check it out at the end screen. But this game was released after the series had finished or at the very tail end that people were watching the final season of Futurama. So it really didn't have too much momentum other than fans of the series wanting to pick this game up. And those fans of the series may have picked this game up because it had an exclusive episode of Futurama, which many people think of as the last episode or a hidden episode of Futurama that you weren't able to watch on TV. Jurassic Park Operation Genesis. This is one that I think you'll find on anybody's rarity guide for the original Xbox. This game was delayed And on top of that, it didn't really sell too well on the Xbox. It sold much better on the PC. Now, this is a construction simulator game, which may also not have been what people were expecting from a Jurassic Park game. However, I've heard that the game is very well done and a lot of fun to play, so it could also be very sought after because not only is it a rare game, but it's also a good game. Guy Games. So this is a game that had some nudity in it, and then there was also a bit of a scandal where one of the girls who posed in a bikini on the cover of this game was apparently 17 during the time of the photo and not quite 18. So there was some legal issues with that got the game pulled from the market. Anyways, Guy Game may not be one that you can stream or may not be an appropriate game, but that's the reason why it's so rare. Stubbs the Zombie, I feel, is one on this list that is really underrated. It is an Xbox exclusive, and you really don't see too many of copies of this game that often. It is a pretty original game where you play as a zombie eating people, and because of this, it was targeted with controversy and with acts of cannibalism being portrayed, which I guess it's really not because you're a zombie, but you were a human at one time. Anyways, keep an eye out for Stubbs the Zombie. Call of Cthulhu, Dark Corners of the Earth. That's the next rare game on this list, and this game was not promoted very well, received some fairly poor and mediocre reviews, and it's not one that I was really too aware of either. So I think it goes under the radar a lot of times, but it definitely deserves to be in the top 10 because this is a pretty rare game on the Xbox. So the next game is the Halo Triple Pack, and the reason this game is considered rare is because it came in this cardboard box that a lot of people threw away. Otherwise, it's just the first 3 Halo games. So maybe it doesn't deserve to be on this list, and the next game should be the number 9, and we can put Capcom Classics Volume 2 at number 10 if you don't want to consider this one of the top 10 rarest games because of that. But there are a lot of people that do consider it a rare and collectible game, so I'm just going to put it on the list anyways. Like I said, you can throw Capcom Classics Volume 2 in there. That's another rare game that kind of squeezes its way onto the top 10. But otherwise, the 10th rarest game on this list is Digimon Rumble Arena. This was the last installment of the Digimon Rumble Arena games at this time. Digimon was still somewhat popular, but other than that, I'm not really too sure what makes this one quite so rare. All right, Playas, so this is where I run down the underrated, uncommon games that you should keep an eye out for. Test Drive, Eve of Destruction, Conkers, Reloaded, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, GTA Trilogy, Obscure, Def Jam, Fight for New York, Godzilla Save the Earth, Godzilla Destroy All Monsters, Fatal Frame 2, Bloody Roar Extreme, Panzer Dragoon, Orta, Alien vs. Predator Extinction, King of Fighters Neo Wave, DDR Ultra Mix 2, Predator Concrete Jungle, and Barbie Horse Adventure. So there are your rare and uncommon games on the original Xbox. Thank you so much for subscribing to the channel and watching this video. If you're interested in learning about new games and different retro games that are out there, and you're interested in collecting video games, then you've come to the right channel. Playas Guide also has a Discord that you could join if you want to discuss more gaming things, or come on over to Playas Guide on Twitch. There's a lot of great streamers there for you to check out, and always good conversation in the chat. That's it for this episode of Playas Guide. Keep it retro. Later, Playas.